Good evening, everybody, and happy Monday. Hope you all have had a good start to your week. We have a final on one of our builds, and so tonight we're going to show you the final on the Airfix Citroën 2CV Dolly. I'll show you kind of some of the good, the bad, and the ugly. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this kit now, but overall I think it turned out all right. So let me pull it over here and we'll show you what we came up with. Okay, so here we go, and I'm going to lower this camera just a little. And there she is. The two-tone paint job. A little bit of gray accent and the light brown or the beige top on it. And so that is what we came up with. And then let me just, I'll pull it forward here just a little bit so you can see a little more of the details. You can see that the hood doesn't quite line up right, and we'll talk about why that is in just a minute. This red decal, this is a decal. The pinstriping is supposed to go all the way to here, but I had an awful time with these decals, and those smaller pinstripes just rolled up on me and kind of disintegrated into nothing. So we had to just leave those off. Of course, it's got the license tag on the back, and the Citroën badging, and the Dolly, which is was the version of this car. Other side there, gas cap, and then there's our front. You can see we did have some issues with the paint. Cracked on me a little bit there when I put the clear coat on. I think it may have been the primer I was using. The hood, you can kind of see some cracking in the hood. This is actually the second time I painted the hood. It was way worse the first time, and so I had to strip it down and sand it and then try again, and it still cracked on me a little bit. So, but that's okay. Of course, we got the little decal, the little Dolly decal there. And then there's not a whole lot to look at on the bottom. It was our exhaust with the muffler and the very simple front and rear suspension there, the axles and all of that. We did the wheels in a light gray. I think I've showed those already. The back does not sit down as far as it's supposed to. I had to raise it up just a little bit, and again I'll show you why that is here in just a second. And then if you've seen the previous videos on this, you've seen pretty much all of the interior. Very simple interior, but we did do a little bit of weathering on the seats. Okay, so let me set this here, and I'm just going to pull this closer and then take the hood off here. The hood does not have a hinge on it. What you can see here is this bracket that holds the headlights goes all the way across, or is supposed to, but I actually wound up having to split it here because the engine sits too far forward on this kit. And I looked at it, I don't know how many times, to make sure I didn't make a mistake, and I didn't. I mean, that's just where the engine goes. There was nowhere else for it to go. I'll show you in the directions here. Get them out without making a huge mess. But in the directions, here, you can see that the bottom of the engine had 2 pins. And then of course, there were 2 holes for those pins to fit into. And that's exactly, I put the engine together exactly like it was supposed to go, and then put the engine in where it was supposed to go, and it just sits too far forward, which kind of throws everything else off, because what we have here then in the engine compartment, just get a pin here to point to it. This hose is actually supposed to connect down here. Now I've got it pointing too far up, I realize that, but even if it were if I were lowered, there would still be a gap there. And then you can see this hose that comes out of the firewall is supposed to meet up with the engine here, but there's a gap there, and that's because that engine sits too far forward. You might notice too, I had some really bad cracking with my paint in here, but figured with the hood on it, you're not going to see that. So also with the hood sitting too far, or with the engine sitting too far forward, you can see on the bottom of the hood, these little recesses are supposed to fit over the light bracket. So that's another reason why I had to split the light bracket so it would come forward enough. And then to get the hood to fit properly, I glued a couple of magnets here and then on the inside, and it fits pretty much like it's supposed to. But you know, still there's a gap on the sides, especially on that other side. But you know, I'm not terribly disappointed. I mean, it's a fairly decent kit. It went together pretty well until that, you know, that very last, you know, assembly part of just finding out that the engine doesn't sit in the right place. So, but overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. It kind of makes me anxious to get to the Tamiya version of this kit, and see how much better it is than this one. But I'm pretty happy with this one, in spite of the little, you know, the little flaws in it. I think it came out really well. It was something different, and so that's what we've got. That's our little Citroën 2CV, and so we will continue on with some of our other projects. We still got several in the works, so this one can go on the shelf, and we can get busy on the rest of our stuff. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and we will see you on the next update. You all take care. Bye.